Hi, I'm Jessie Braun with Rockus Bloom Computer Consulting, and I'm here today to show you some of the new features with Sage version 2020. Sage 2020 had some great usability changes added, but no major module rewrites. So we just get to look at the fun additions and improvements today. Let's get started looking at some of the additions to Sage 2020. One improvement that will help users with higher security workstations is that the workstation synchronization process no longer requires admin rights. It used to be that any product update required an admin to synchronize the workstation after. This will no longer be required, and users can log in as normal after the updates without this administrative intervention. Visual Integrator has some updates that can make your import testing much easier. We now have a filter that can show us only the records that failed or were inaccurate on the first test. You can export a text file of these records for easier review, and in the job log, you can also see a row number that's associated with the failed record. This is going to make it much easier to diagnose your problems in the Excel file that you're using. Company colors, such as the background and frame, now apply to Visual Integrator jobs, so you can make sure you're importing into the correct company code. If you ever create user-defined fields in Sage, you'll know that you have to have all users out of the system before you can add the user-defined field to the tables. With this new feature in 2020, you can save your changes and choose to update the system at a later time. This means you don't need to stay after hours to make these changes. You can just create, then set to update. You can see what pending changes are available using the Pending Changes Summary report. So you can see here, I do have a pending user-defined field waiting to be updated. This can be scheduled for later update in the task scheduler under Library Master. Sage has expanded several fields in the customer and vendor and just throughout the system, including the customer name, which you can see is much longer here at this point, vendor name and confirm to fields, our address fields, as well as the city and country name fields. Telephone numbers and extensions have been extended, as well as allowing us to choose a type for our telephone field. International addresses are also now supported in Sage. There's one feature that's gone in the 2020 version and beyond, and that is the classic desktop. I've got a picture here of what that looks like. And if you do use this in your current system, before you upgrade, you want to be prepared that this view will no longer be available. A new feature in Accounts Payable allows you to add the distribution balance to the last line of your invoice, repetitive invoice or manual GL check distribution. Let me show you this here. So you can see here, we have a balance of $50 still available. We can use this net balance button to add the remaining balance to whatever line you're currently on. This one will have some users excited. A new reverse check run utility is available in the Accounts Payable menu. This allows you to reverse or void an entire check run instead of having to manually go one by one. This is going to be great for you when you accidentally post to the wrong dates. Once you select your bank code and check number here, it will recognize all of the checks in the check run associated with that check number. EInvoicing is now available in Accounts Receivable and Sales Order. This works through the Paya Connect desktop and allows you to send an e-invoice where the customer can click a link and it takes them to a portal to pay the invoice. You do need to be using Paya for credit card processing, and there are some setups that need to be done. If you're interested in this, please contact us and we'll be happy to help you get you going on this. A utility that is commonly used in Accounts Receivable, previously called ARWAR4, but now correctly labeled as Clear Payments Today, has been added to the menu. This can also be scheduled using the Task Scheduler. So if you frequently run into this issue, where you have an invoice that is not showing as available for payment in cash receipts, just schedule this utility through the Task Scheduler, as you can see here. A huge new feature added to the 2020 version of Sage is the added functionality of lot traced items expiration dates. You can have expirations on the date on the lot when you receive, use, and sell items. They can be manually entered, or you can set your settings to automatically calculate them. You can see here we have a menu that allows us to set some defaults, and we can have a calculation done differently based on sales, issues, or returns. You can also change these expiration dates from the Item Maintenance tab, and you can choose to exclude expired items from your reorder calculations. There are also some traceability options, including a where used inquiry window, customer recall report, and the lot serial transaction history report. Last year, Sage added functionality for the 1099 NEC form, which replaced the 1099 miscellaneous Box 7 non-employee compensation form. Now, they have expanded this functionality to the purchase order module. You can now mark invoices as 1099s in the PO receipt of invoice module, and this will flow through to the accounts payable 1099 calculations. Another new purchase order feature is the ability to add multiple purchase orders to one receipt or receipt of goods or receipt of invoice. This is similar to our sales order function. Let's take a look at this. So in our receipt of goods entry, we can choose a purchase order. I've chosen this one purchase order, and we now have this plus button. If we choose the plus button, it will show us additional purchase orders that can be received on this receipt that relate to this vendor. Sage has added some great features to the inventory and accounts payable module, and they continue to add to the usability functions within the system. They're always taking suggestions and often add features requested in the Sage Ideas website or by the Sage community. So if you have something that you would like to suggest, I recommend going out to the Sage Ideas website. If there's anything that you've seen here today that interests you, please contact us about doing an upgrade. I hope you've enjoyed looking at the features for Sage 100 2020 version. Thank you.